Good morning. So we continue with. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So we continue with basically the blessing that Yosef got. Yosef got a special blessing from his fathers. Vani Nasati lechem Chechem Echad al Lecha. I gave you an extra portion over your brothers. What is that extra portion? Chechem could be interpreted as the shoulder, the back, which is over your brothers. The brothers, shifteka, kisham alu shevatim shifteka. The service of the brothers is to elevate, to pray, to disconnect themselves, so to say, from physicality. Yosef urad Mitzrayma, Yosef went down to Egypt. For him is to actually transform the physicality, transform even the shoulder, the back, and bring it to Hashem. That's the power of Yosef HaTzadik. And that's why first in the blessings we have the blessing that was said to Yosef, and afterwards we start the blessings of the brothers, because how are they going to come to a higher level of elevation? Through Yosef himself. So he said in the pasuk, this I'm going to give an extra portion which I took becharbi ubekashti, with my sword and my bow and arrow. So we said, how really did Yaakov do this with his sword, bow and arrow? No. Charbi ubekashti represents taluti uba'uti, tfilati ubakashati, which means my prayer and my beseeching God. ועניין בחרבי בקשתי וצלותי בעבודתי יובן בהקדם הידוע שאף על פי שעיקר עניין התורה. So we said like this, we're going to explain what does it mean בחרבי ובקשתי, to explain that what is the concept of Torah. Torah is something that comes from above to below, but prayer is something that you elevate from below. You pray to Hashem, you elevate yourself above. Nevertheless, since everything that's in holiness is multifaceted, there is in something a facet, there is in Torah a facet of prayer, there is in prayer a facet of Torah. So we understand that even in Torah there is prayer, and even in prayer there is Torah. And what does that mean? He says, what is the level of elevation in the Torah? The Torah comes from heaven to earth. But how do you, and the Torah is called Lecha min hashamayim, it's called bread from heaven. But Torah shebe'al peh, which means the oral Torah, and especially the Babylonian Talmud, right, which is in a way of going out of the darkness through discussion and through clarifying the darkness till you go to the depth of the understanding, and it comes with a great effort, right? And it not only comes with a great effort, we know that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, right, was in the Me'ara, and when he was in the cave, so it says that he was in a state that you can imagine being in a cave for over 10 years, how he looked, right, and he was suffering. So his student came to see him, and he was crying. He says, before he had questions on Rashbi, right? He had questions. When Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai used to have questions on Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair, Rashbi had so many questions on Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair. Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair had answers for him. He says, I'm happy that you see me in such a situation, because through me suffering in the Me'ara, in the cave, now I am able to answer every question of Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair with 24 explanations, right? And or completely, which means that it's not only that you have a quantity of explanations that you didn't have before, but every answer that Rabbi Shimon Baruch Yochai gave was already of a higher level of quality. So, what are we saying here? We're saying that in Torah Shebe'al Peh, the pilpul, the question and answer process, right? This is a process where you have to toil in order to be able to get to the final answer and to the deeper answer and to a greater level of quantity. And that is like tefillah, just like prayer. Prayer, you elevate yourself and you elevate yourself. Here you're elevating yourself in the understanding of Torah and in the connect and so on, and in the connection with the truth of Torah. So we see that there's the aspect of prayer within Torah, the aspect of elevation within Torah. And in prayer itself, in the tefillah itself, there is the fact that you bring down from above to below. It's true that prayer in general is a concept of going up and going higher and higher and higher till you find yourself before, like a servant before your master. And you ask for your physical needs. And it's true that a person that asks for his physical needs in the prayer is regarded in a negative way, so to say. But the whole purpose of prayer is to ask for physicality. From the moment that we ask Hashem to give us dat, to give us understanding, and afterwards we ask Him physical things like being healthy and having parnasah, and then building Jerusalem, bring Mashiach, right, which is to take us out of the darkness of Galut. So basically what are we doing? In prayer, we're drawing down the blessing. So in Torah, you have the fact that Torah comes from above to below. It's the wisdom of God which is given to us. But in Torah itself, there's the aspect of elevation in Torah, which is through the study in depth of Torah, through the oral Torah. In prayer, we elevate ourselves towards Hashem. But afterwards is to come to the Amidah and draw down the blessings. So we have the aspect of Torah in Tefillah and the aspect of Tefillah in Torah. And as well, in the prayer you have parts of Torah, and in the Torah you have parts of prayer. For example, in the Torah, in the Tanakh, you have Sefer Tehillim. So it's the prayer which is in the Torah, right? Which are songs and Tefillah. Then the same thing. So, and in Tefillah, you have psukim, you have verses of Torah that you say, as Yasher Moshe, for example. So everything is kalul, everything is inter-included. There's an inter-inclusion of this. And so he says like this. And therefore, when he told them, I gave you an extra portion, which I took with my prayer and my beseeching, what is he talking about? It's talking about the fact that he brought the Torah down, and he brought it through my beseeching. Yaakov represents Torah. But he used prayer. He used the aspect of prayer in the Torah in order to conquer. And this is what he gave to Yosef. He gave to Yosef the power to unite Torah and Tefillah in a way that Torah and Tefillah will be able to transform the reality of this world. The same thing when it comes to elevating the world, and when it comes to the enemy, which is the close enemy. What is our close enemy? It's the coarseness that we have sometimes. You know the enemy. So for the enemy that's close to you, it's enough with a sword. You just kill him with a sword. But there is the enemy which is further away from us, which is the bad which is inside of us, but it is more and more refined, and it's more hidden inside of us. For this, you need a bow and arrow to be able to reach that enemy. So there's the prayer and the beseeching, which means that just like the bow, the more you bring it close to you, the further it reach, the more you're a bebitul, the more you're going to annul yourself, the more you're going to be able to refine even the enemy within you, which is more hidden. And through this, we are able to refine ourselves, not only the coarse part of ourselves, but the more refined part of ourselves and the more hidden parts of ourselves. And by this, we elevate the world. And by this, we're able to get out of Egypt and transform the whole world. So the sikum of this Maamar is like this, to make it practical for us. Yosef HaTzadik has a special quality that he is able to elevate the mundane. The Shvatim, the tribes, lived in a way that they were separate, they were aloof from the physicality. How do we have the power to be able to transform the physical world when we are like Yosef? What was the quality of Yosef? Is that he did not satisfy himself only with tefillah or only with Torah, but he used the Torah and the Tefillah became one by him. The aspect of prayer in the Torah, which means that everything was a level, if you think about it, everything was used to its maximum potential. And because he prayed and because he annulled himself before Hashem, he was able to come to the lowest levels without being affected by them, but actually transform them. And how did he do that? Through prayer. Tefillah specifically. What type of tefillah? Tzeluti, a normal prayer. And then bakashati, which means to beseech, to search. Which means in prayer, this means that you are really exerting yourself in prayer. You're annulling yourself before God. And in Torah, it means that you're exerting yourself in trying to understand and go to the depths of Torah. Which means this Torah was not only something which was drawn from above to below, but it's something where he put his effort of toil to be able to come closer to God, right? And be part of that Torah. Because what happens many times, if Hashem reveals himself, reveals his knowledge to us, we can be very, very impressed. But it doesn't mean we're going to be transformed. The transformation comes from the investment that we put inside. Bezat Hashem, upcoming we'll be learning the Maamar of Bati Legani as every year, and we'll be going to the next level.